Roll call, trustee Mercer,
Present.
trustee Lopez. Let the record show that trustee Archuleta and the mayor is absent. Trustee Mercer, could you say the pledge, the prayer, please, and I'll say the pledge.
Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to come here to conduct business for the village of Milan. Give us the wisdom to make the choices that are best for the village. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustees, members of the public, this is our budget hearing. Candy will go over the budget. And then after that, those individuals will be allowed to do their presentations. Then after that, we'll have public comment and discussion of the items. But each speaker that is giving a presentation will be allowed 3 minutes and only 3 minutes. You will be allowed to ask questions of the presenters.
Thank you.
I don't know how to share my screen on the Zoom.
There should be something on the bottom that says share.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
No, but I can. Yeah.
All right. So we've been working on budget for quite a few months, so this is not going to be new to the board. The first slide just shows what we're aiming for this year, what we've worked towards all fiscal year 22, and what we're going to continue to work towards on fiscal year 2023. The most important thing that we always have to remember is that we must be fiscally responsible with every dollar of public funds. This is taxpayers' money, so we need to be responsible for it. So this slide shows the interim budget that we turned into LGVMS, and it was approved. We did make some changes between the interim budget to the final budget. Mostly cash balances. We increased balances in transportation. We moved some employee positions around, and we also are going to be starting a new project that's going to bump these revenues and expenditures up above 11 million. But that's just project funding, so it's not really our operating fund, but it still has to be budgeted. So those are things that you can look forward to in our final budget, which you guys will get to vote on next week. Some of our budget strategies that we faced this year was, we noticed that our revenues have been increasing between 15 and 20% per annum. So every year they're going up. So that's a good thing, especially considering that we just went through COVID. So we did budget for that. I budgeted more on the conservative side, 15%, because a budget is a living, growing, breathing animal, and we can do budget adjustments through the year. I'd rather be conservative than over hopeful, especially when it comes to revenues. So we also, the board voted to increase the percentage rate that the Village of Milan pays for their employees' para. This is going to put a little bit more money in every employee's paycheck across the board. And so that's in the budget. Our salary schedule was adopted this year. This is going to help us remedy the issues we're having with employee pay rates, making sure that everybody's on the same pay scale for their job duties. Um, we did increase budget as far as expenditures to reflect the current inflation. Everybody's feeling it, and that means that we are too. So we adjusted for that, the cost of things going up so high. Some of the fun things that we're working on, the bank building roofing, and getting the old bank established as the new village hall. So that's a big project that's coming up this year. Next week with the final budget, you'll get to see all the projects and how much funding is being allotted for just projects that are already under construction and the ones that we're just waiting on final approval for. We're going to continue to work on infrastructure in the Village of Milan, parks, fields, streets, and other infrastructure, sewer, water, things like that. So that's what we kind of put into our budget as the priorities we wanted this year. I talked a little bit about what we've changed, just to go over it real quick. We moved some positions from streets department to joint utilities because joint utilities is self-sufficient. Streets funds, we have to help them out a little bit. We added the two new full-time positions to joint utilities to alleviate some of the overburden. During COVID, one of the things that happened was when people left, those positions weren't refilled and then they didn't get budgeted for. So we're adding those positions back in there to get these crews to where they're just not working over, getting overly exhausted and worn out. It's good for the employees. I talked about a little bit earlier, we're increasing the budget in all the departments for fuel. Fuel prices are uncertain. They could go down, but we budgeted at the high amount, just to be on the safe side. And then we also increased the budget in the finance department for training and the per diem for employee trainings. There's a lot of trainings that are coming up because the state's making so many changes. It'll be good for us to get our employees that are going to be facing those changes into their training so that they can go. So we did increase that a little bit. So this is the final budget suggestion. Again, like I said, this is what you guys will be voting on next Thursday. But I mentioned earlier, all the cash balances changed because these are our actual end of year cash balances. So those all went up. I was happy to see. The revenues and expenditures are going to show quite a dramatic change because we got that big transportation project. It's about $3 million. So that had to be budgeted. But overall, we're still looking good. We carried over $4 million in cash, not including investments. When you include the savings accounts and stuff, we were well over $5 million. So that was a huge gain for the Village of Milan. And then we'll be right about the same area next year, hopefully. Huh? Or higher. Linda says or higher. So we're getting to that point where we're going to hear our funding requests. I just wanted to take a little bit to go over this. We did pass an ordinance at the Village of Milan, ordinance number 290, which is expenditure accounting reporting. These are just some of the highlights. I did put copies out on the table of the entire ordinance if anybody would like to get a copy of that. So every recipient of funds or other such payment or benefit from the Village of Milan, whether the organization operates in a nonprofit capacity, for-profit capacity, or any other capacity, shall provide in writing a completed EAR to the village trustees, village manager, and the village finance department within 15 days after a request. We're requesting one report every quarter or monthly, depending on the contract agreement invoicing. So that basically just means if you're going to request your funding every quarter, we're going to request that that expenditure report. If you're reporting every month, then or you're asking for funding every month, then we'll ask for the report every month. It'll all be on the contract agreement. Any recipient of funds who does not comply with submission of the EAR will not be allowed to receive funding from the Village of Milan for a minimum of 2 years. A copy of the complete ordinance is available if you guys need it. So this is the time where we'll open the floor for both public discussion and outside agency requests. And then, of course, the board, if you have any comments. Public discussion and outside agency requests are limited to 3 minutes. Is
Thank you, Candy. And do we have any questions before we go to presentations?
Okay, the first group that has requested to, and we've got a list, so we're going to go down that list. Lava Soil and Water District, they request $2,000. We have not, in last year, we did not support them. The funding we donated to them last year was 0. So, Lava Soil and Water? Okay, come on up, please.
Anyway, I guess everybody got a handout. Do you have a handout? If not, I have extra handouts here. Anyway, it's, oh yeah, let me just keep one.
Thank you.
Everybody got one? Okay, I want to say good evening to the citizens of Milan and the Board of Trustees. And anyway, we didn't request funding last year, but we have been in the process of forming a cooperative weed management area, which is to control undesirable vegetation that seems to be on the spread in areas of Cibola County. Anyway, that's what this says, and we've been moving along with the project. Anyway, there's a lot of Russian knapweed, thistles in the area, and our main goal is they don't respect boundaries. They're not going to stay within Milan. They're not going to stay out of Milan. They move very rapidly, and we've been hosting almost monthly meetings out at the Grants Golf Course. Anybody from Milan that would like to come and be present is more than welcome. I'll be glad to send you notices. But anyway, since then, we have been looking for a weed coordinator, and we have an individual that I think is going to put in, he's highly qualified. He lives here in the area. He's an agronomist by trade, so he knows crops, he knows weeds and everything else. But our main reason now is to see if we can leverage more funds. That's why we're requesting money from the Village of Milan. The more buy-in we have, like from the City of Grants, Cibola County, the Village of Milan, and different places, the more federal money we can get to fund this. And what we would like to do is, anyway, down here on the request, what you will get for your money is a half-day training for your people that are out in the field working weed control, half-day training, and what it would be the least destructive, effective materials and herbicides to kill the plants. And there's provide public information on noxious weeds and control methods that are with safe herbicides. Number 3, provide maps of noxious weeds in your area as they become available with the name of the weed and the most effective means of control. There is an app for phones. It's called iNaturalist. And if you, I don't have it on mine, but if you take a picture of a plant, it's supposed to give you the common name, the scientific name, and the location. And anyway, there's coordinated efforts will yield a great deal. And I'll tell you a little bit about the district if you turn the page over. We've been around since the spring of 1946. That's 76 years. And that's when this lava was formed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and the trustees will not be making a decision at this meeting. So that will be made at the next meeting on Thursday. Okay, next we have Cibola Community Economic Development.
Linda, before you start, you want to let them ask questions if they have.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes. Did you have questions of lava?
No.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Good evening, trustees and village manager and attendees. My name is Eileen Chavez Yarborough. I'm the executive director of Cibola Communities Economic Development Foundation. I'm here to give you an update on what we have done, but more importantly, to help you understand why we are requesting the amount of funding that we are. This report that I provided for you is an annual report, and its purpose is twofold. One is so that you have it in your hands and you have it for next week's meeting, which I hope to be able to go over it very quickly for you and answer any questions for you. And then the second purpose is if you will go to the back 2 pages, I can give you a report on the numbers of what I have provided, the services that I have provided this year, and what your $25,000 has gotten you and the reason why we're requesting 40. So if you'll look at the second to the last page, it says by the numbers. And so I wanted to work from the bottom up. And most of what I have here has been funded through grant funding. So just know that most of the funding that you all provides for the operations of the organization and the salaries of myself and a part-time business manager that run this organization. So going from the bottom up, I attended 5 conferences. Out of those conferences, not only was it professional development for my career field, but was able to secure 7 leads and 3 that I'm still working on as viable. Attended sales missions, and those are meetings that are specifically set with site selectors, one-on-one meetings. Participated in 5 of those, 5 different cities, 13 leads, working on 7 viables. Trade shows, attended 5 of those, 103 leads, 42 viable leads, working that number down to those that are actually really viable and interested, and just been kissing a lot of frogs to try and find somebody that is interested in locating in the Village of Milan Industrial Park. Responded with Cibola County to 19 RFPs for expansions and relocations to New Mexico that we qualified for. Responded to 9 potential recruitment opportunities through the New Mexico Partnership, of which 2 warranted site visits, which means you're a final candidate in your state. We held 4 job fairs, 1 every quarter this past year, and we had 4 initial site visits and 2 second visits.
Does the trustees have any questions?
Man, that went fast.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the next presenter we have is the Chamber of Commerce. They're requesting $25,000. And last year, we did not provide them any support.
Good evening, and can you all hear me? Am I good? I tend to be quiet, so I try not to yell. But anyway, I'm very happy to be here tonight and to get to present to you a request for funding for the Chamber of Commerce. I have provided you a letter in your packet that gives you a little bit of history about the Chamber of Commerce and how it's evolved through the years and how long it has been active in our community. I've kind of highlighted some of the projects that we've done this year and some of the work we've done working with the schools, students, working on potential projects for STEM through the Chamber of Commerce. And obviously, those are things that we do through the Mining Museum. And we're really excited about that. We've also started an ambassador program with students so that we can have them helping us to go out there and set up booths and promote our community. We have been active in this new Labor Day weekend event that's coming. That is something that we're going to be presenting to your whole council at a meeting just so that you can have information of all the event and what is going to be going on in our community. That is in the hopes of bringing business to our area for the business owners and obviously boosting the gross receipts. I have presented ideas of projects that could potentially be the way the future of the Chamber of Commerce works for the Village of Milan. I've talked about business membership, which we need to boost in this area specifically. I also talked about community membership, which makes it to where elected officials can also become members of the Chamber and have the information flowing directly to you regarding everything we're doing at the Chamber of Commerce. I talked about historical tourism, Historical 66. I believe that you are missing some of the very important possibilities of tourism coming through the community. I highlighted that a picture opportunity on your main street, a possible visitor information and retail area. How does the chamber work with you on this? Well, we can work through a joint powers agreement and we could potentially be able to have an employee at that site for you, making sure they share information. Picture opportunities are a big deal on 66, and we're participating in the 66 passport, and I will be able to report numbers to you on how many visitors are coming through 66, and the type of traffic we have just coming through the mining museum has got to be shared all the way through Milan. And the way we share that is through a picture board. I'm sorry, I'm running out of time. There's information about assets and possibilities, and I do look forward to working with you. I also provided you a breakdown of what the budget will look like for the $25,000 moving forward 2022-23. If you have any questions, I will entertain those questions for you. That was fast. And then I'm like, I left so much out. But anyway, you do have the packet, and I really hope that we're able to start a relationship, a closer relationship.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, and the Council of Governments has presented in a few months ago. So they will not be presenting tonight. You have their information in their report. And I guess I should have asked you if you had any questions for the chamber before she left the stand. Okay, thank you. Okay, and our last presenter will be Recycle Cibola. And they're asking, according to the letter, $1,500. We supported them in 2019 with 1,000.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and trustees. It's kind of weird on this side of the board. Thank you, Mr. Van Vlick, also. Nice to see you. We are the team. This is Mary Ann Bidwell and myself, Ellen Vaca. Tom Babassi Jr. and Hollis Flesher were the coordinators of Recycle Cibola, and it started 11 years ago. And we had MOUs with all the entities, and somehow or another that has gone by the wayside now. I guess that's because of DFA. Anyway, we are asking for $1,500 because prices have gone up, everything. We are a community we go to all the community events and teach educational materials and giveaways. And this is one of our giveaways, and I know Mrs. Brembelo is very familiar. And all of our products that we have are made of recycled materials. So recycling was closed down for COVID. And then we had people giving us signatures. We had all kinds of petitions out, and finally Solid Waste Authority and the managers of all three entities gave us permission to go ahead and do it again. The only thing we do not take now is tin cans, aluminum, and electronics. So, was that my beeper?
No, I hope not.
And anyway, the bins are located at Smith's and at Milan Supermart, and they are open from 8 to 4 and Monday through Friday, no weekends, sorry. And I enjoyed working the bins. I worked them for 2 years. I've been affiliated with the group for 6 years, and I enjoy it. And I enjoy visiting with the public and talking and explaining things for them, where to recycle and what to recycle. And people are really picking up on it. And they begged us all the time they were shut down. When are you coming? When are you going to start doing this? People have piles of stuff in their garages. So we're very excited to get back to this program, and we'd appreciate you joining back in. Thank you. Any questions? Well, we're asking for 1,500, but in the past, they gave us 1,000. That's all they got.
And it does. I just got the letter for the request today,
Yes.
so this was already published.
So we would appreciate it because costs are rising. We know costs are going up for everybody.
And the request we got was, we want what we got last time. She actually said last year, but we
She said
went
last
a little further back.
Well, then she sent this, and this is what we have.
Yeah, I couldn't get this updated because this was already published.
Thanks, but that's okay. I know, and I know that the city of Grants cut us off altogether, but we have high hopes for them to return, and the county has been helping us in lots of other ways, but we would sure like to have more money so we can buy more stuff to hand out. Thank you. Yeah, recyclable. Our pencils are even made recycled material.
Mm.
They're really neat pencils.
So that's what you use the money for, is to
Right.
buy.
It's educational and
It-
promotional
right.
items that and a lot of the people just love this. You would not believe what we go through at the farmer's market.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Sounds good.
thank you.
Okay, does the board have, or anyone else have questions for Miss Lopez? I'm
Baca.
sorry, Baca. I was looking at Roseanne. Sorry.
More questions?
No questions? No.
That's all I have then.
Okay, so we are back to the discussion, public comment.
On the budget comments, there's no limit. If anybody wants to talk about the budget, there's no limit.
You have comments?
No?
No comments? Do we have public comments?
Good evening, members of the board and the community members and the village employees. I'm Deanna Chavez, born and raised in the Milan area. I have a big concern of the dogs at large in my area. I missed the May meeting because the date got changed, and then we came for the June meeting, and that one I got here and it ended up being televised instead of in person. And I won't be here for the next meeting. I'll be out of town, but I have had to run to my car to go to work in the mornings because of dogs at large. My husband has had to distract a dog so that I could get to my car. We have had, and I have called police officers on this. I have talked to dispatch on this. I did talk to the mayor today about this. My dogs are enclosed in a fenced yard. And I understand, let me backtrack a little bit. I understand that dogs do get out. I truly understand that. The fireworks, they get scared, they jump a fence that you never thought they would jump. I understand that. Seeing the dog out once in a while, I get that. You know, we all make mistakes. I understand that. But I'm consistently seeing the same dogs. I have had a pit bull in my yard with my Shih Tzu and my Golden Doodle. I have a doggy door attached to my yard or to my house. And luckily, I have a cage attached to that doggy door so that the pit bull could not roam my house. I called dispatch that night. Dispatch would not send out a dog catcher for me. They told me, well, bring your dogs inside and lock them up. And I says, but this is my yard, my house. The dog is trying to get into my house. Like I said, I'm very fortunate because I do have a big cage that connects to my doggy door so that my dogs don't have full control of the house during the day while I'm gone. But they did finally pick up that dog. But I'm tired of every time I go home that I have to step over dog feces to get into my house when my dogs are locked up in a fence. And granted, my backyard is not locked up. It's opened. I don't have it fenced off, but I still feel like this is my area. They shouldn't be over here all of the time. My husband has also witnessed that the dog catcher follows these dogs home and just gives them back to the owners. And it's continuous. If it was once in a while, like I said, I understand that your dog got out. I really do. All of them do. I get that. But continuously, and I also would request that you guys would have the dog catcher work different hours. 8 to 5, people are at work. So guess what? Their dogs are locked up at 8 to 5. But cruise my neighborhood about 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and there's dogs running the neighborhood. Come to my area after 5 o'clock in the evening. I've got dogs running in my area. The other night, my husband and I came home from Albuquerque at 8:30 in the evening. I live on the corner of Center and Valencia. We came down Valencia. There's 2 dogs right there. We get on the porch, and on the other side of me, there's 2 more loose dogs. That's 4 dogs altogether. You know, my neighbor across the street, 2 pit bulls jumped his fence and attacked his dog, almost killed his dog. So we need to do something with these dogs. I shouldn't have to run out to my car to go to work. I love my kids. I love going to the schools to work, but I shouldn't have to because I'm scared. And I shouldn't have to come home and walk over dog poop that isn't even my dog's. You know, and I'm worried a kid's going to get bit because these aren't little dogs that are running the streets. They're pit bulls. They're German shepherds. What else have I seen? I don't know. I've seen a number of them, but I would request, please, that you guys, you know, maybe work different hours once in a while for the dog catcher. I understand they're doing both jobs, but I think if these people start getting fined and cited, or these dogs start getting picked up and get taken to the shelter, I know the shelter is overwhelmed. I understand that. But it's not fair to the rest of us that try to obey these laws of keeping our dogs in secure fences and not roaming the yard. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, may I address that?
Yes.
At this point, we are advertising for a full-time animal control person. And we can entertain, once that individual's hired, we can entertain having mixed hours instead of just 9 to 5.
Okay. Well, even if we can just get the dog catcher now to start picking them up instead of following them home, that would be, because I truly believe if you get fined for it, you're going to start figuring out a way to make sure that your dog stays locked up.
And we will address this with her.
I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Comments? No comment? So we go to the next item, is discussion items. Do we have anything?
She's
On the
catching up. I do. It's not that fast, okay? Okay, I have two resolutions that'll be presented to you at your regular meeting. Both of them are from the Water Trust Board. So they will be, committing our match money. One of them is a $2,500,000 grant or grant/loan for our airport road bridge. The other is a $2,900,000 grant/loan for our water system improvements. It will also be the adoption of our final budget. We'll have bars. We have one bar, final budget, and fourth quarter. Is what Fire chief sent me an MOU application. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. That will be on your agenda as well.
And this application will be to request money to do the top story of the firehouse. That way he won't have to take a loan out.
Another is a municipal water rights. Do you want to elaborate on that one?
The what?
The water, water rights?
Oh, that will increase, that will give us a chance to increase water rights whenever necessary. It's not that we want to, but everything's going up, and that will increase them at this next meeting.
Is that water rights or water rates?
Rates.
No, water rights. The
Water
Mustafa-
rights.
Mustafa, you actually.
Oh, okay. That
Sorry.
is a president, a while back, we had a water audit. And the gentleman, the contractor, will be here to explain the audit results. We do have the final now. So both him and our attorney for the water will be here to answer any questions the board may have. And I think you've all gotten that document to review.
And there will also be a closed session. The closed session will be on personnel.
It'll be lawsuit.
Oh, litigation. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. So now we go to the announcements. Board of Trustees regular meeting, July 21st, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. ICIP hearing, July 29th, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. Planning and zoning meeting, August the 4th, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. And Board of Trustees meeting, August the 18th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. All we have. Okay. Okay. We thank everyone for the presentations and for the information for us to look over for the next meeting. Do I have an adjournment? Make a motion. And I have- You make a motion? To adjourn? Yeah. Mhm. Okay, have a motion by trustee Lopez to adjourn
I'll second it.
and second by trustee Mercer. So we are adjourned.